This is Kenny Tian. Welcome to Real Estate License in 14 Weeks. This is episode 11 of Starting from Zero. And we're going into chapter 3, Title Burdens and Protection. During the course of the video, if you like my content and if you find it helpful, please give me a thumbs up. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, all you need to do is just click the subscribe button and then hit the bell. We're going to talk about title burdens and protection. What are title burdens? Title burdens are things that will have an effect on the title, such as liens. When we talk about title burden, the first thing we think about is liens. There are many different kinds of liens. First of all, let's go over specific versus general liens. What is a specific lien? A lien that is specific to a particular property. A lien that is general is the type of lien that will become a title burden on all the properties that are owned by a particular person. I'll give you an example of a general lien. Pretty much all governmental taxes are considered to be general lien. What are the different types of taxes? Income tax, any kind of governmental federal tax, all the federal taxes and all the state taxes and all the local taxes, all of those taxes are considered to be general lien. The only type of tax that is not general lien is the property tax. A property tax is specific lien. So if you have two properties, property A and property B, property A, you made all the taxes. For example, you may have two properties in two different counties. For example, you have one property in LA County, another property in Orange County. Now, the ones that is located in Orange County, you will make the tax payments to the county tax collector in Orange County. The one that you have in LA County, you will make the payment to the Los Angeles tax collector. So if you, for example, you made the payment for A, property A, but you don't make the payment for property B. So the lien that the property B will have an issue with will not affect property A because property taxes are specific lien. Okay, that's what specific lien means. If you have a federal lien, for example, you file your tax return and you owe the federal government money, any kind of federal tax lien are going to be general lien. What that means is it's going to affect all of the properties that you own. For example, this taxpayer has a property in LA County and property in Orange County. The federal tax lien, because it is a general lien, all the government has to do is to record it and it will affect both properties. Okay, so that's what general lien means. Now let's go over some of the specific liens and examples of specific liens. Specific lien might be a mortgage lien, for example. Everybody knows what mortgage is. If you borrow money on property A, but you don't borrow money on property B. Now, when you borrow money on property A, the lender will record a lien against your property. So the lien that is affecting property A will not affect property B. So that's why mortgage is another type of specific lien. There are many other kinds. I will go over each and every one of them in the later part of the video presentation. Examples of specific liens are mortgage, mechanics lien, attachment, property taxes. Now, I didn't talk about attachment. What is attachment? Attachment is something, it's a right that a person has when it comes to creating a lien against the property of someone who owes you a debt. For example, if somebody owes you a money from your business, say if you ship some goods to a business that order the goods, but they don't pay you the money for the goods. So one of the things that the law allows you to have is to allow you to put a lien on the person's property, the person who owes you the business debt. And that's what we call attachment. It is a lien that is placed on the property while the lawsuit is pending. So you can sue this person. Why do we put an attachment on somebody's property? We put an attachment on somebody's property because we are afraid that it takes a long time to get a judgment. So during the course of the litigation, unless you put an attachment lien on his property, he might sell this property or transfer the property in ways that will prevent you or make it more difficult for you to enforce your judgment to collect your money. But if you have an attachment lien against the property, while the lawsuit is pending, the property will remain in place. In other words, he can't transfer away the property. That's what an attachment is for. Next, we talk about voluntary lien and involuntary lien. Simply, a voluntary lien is a lien that the owner is willing to accept. For example, when you borrow money from a bank to buy a home, usually the bank would have a mortgage against your property. Okay. Now, a trust deed, for now, you treat a trust deed the same thing as a mortgage. Later on, in later chapter, you will be able to see the distinction between a trust deed and a mortgage. Trust me on that. We'll get to it when we get there. For right now, treat mortgage and trust deed as the same thing. Both are voluntary liens because in order to get the loan, the lender wants to put a trust deed or mortgage against your property and you have to allow them to do it. So it's a voluntary thing. Now, what are the examples of involuntary lien? An involuntary lien is something that you don't wish to accept. For example, if you owe the IRS money, they put a lien against your property, that will be an involuntary lien. Mechanics lien will be involuntary. Attachment lien will be involuntary. Property taxes. So pretty much many of the liens that we're talking about are involuntary lien unless it is mortgage or trust deed. Let's talk about mechanics lien. Mechanics lien can be available to a general contractor, a subcontractor, a material supplier, or even designer. So oftentimes when you hire a contractor, a general contractor to do a construction project for you, the general contractor would have to hire different trades of subcontractor. For example, a general contractor would need to hire a plumber, electrician, a roofer, and many different trades of subcontractors. The subcontractors, as well as the general contractors, as well as the material supplier, they all have the right and the ability to record a lien against your property if they don't get paid. Whenever you borrow money from the bank, one of the things they want to find out is there a mechanics lien already recorded against your property? Or are you doing any kind of improvement work on your property? If the improvement work has started, the lender's main concern is, will the mechanics lien have priority over their mortgage lien, for example? So if I'm a lender, I would not loan you money if I know that you're currently having a construction contract with a contractor that has not been completed yet. Because in terms of priority, the date of priority is determined by the date of work commencement by the contractor. If I'm a lender, I want to be up on top of the mechanics lien. I don't want to be below the mechanics lien. So the best time to borrow money from the bank would be before any construction work has commenced, because once it's commenced, lender will be considered lower in priority and they will not be willing to do that. So remember that. Whenever there is no notice of completion has been recorded, all contractors, including the subcontractors and the material supplier, everyone has 90 days after the completion of the project to record a mechanic. So 90 days is a very long time. So if you're the owner, you want to shorten the amount of time for the different contractors and subcontractors to record their mechanics, and there's a way to do it. you can prepare a notice of completion, which is nothing more than a piece of paper. It's just a standard form. You fill out the information, you take the form, and you record it at the county recorder's office. Once the notice of completion is recorded, the amount of time that the contractors and subcontractors can record a lien against your property suddenly is shortened from 90 to 60 days for the contractor, for the general contractor, and is shortened from 90 days to 30 days for the subcontractors and the material supplier. Now let's talk about notice of non-responsibility. If you have a retail store that you're looking for a new tenant to come in and rent it, and if you're a landlord, you're renting this retail space to a tenant who needs to do remodeling. For example, your tenant is in the business of selling frozen yogurt. Now the previous tenant was doing some Chinese takeout. So frozen yogurt and Chinese takeout are two different businesses. So obviously, the tenant that's coming in to run that yogurt business needs to do remodeling. And in order to do remodeling, the tenant or prospective tenant needs to hire a general contractor. As a landlord, one of your main concerns is, what if the tenant has a dispute with the general contractor, and the general contractor would then record a mechanic's lien against you, the landlord's property? So you certainly want to find a way to avoid that. And one of the ways to avoid being affected by a mechanic's lien that is the result of the dispute between your tenant and the general contractor is to file and post. Basically, you will record it and post it. So you record it at the county recorder's office, a notice of non-responsibility. And then you make copy of the notice of non-responsibility. You will post it at the premises so that the contractor can see the notice. So the contractor knows he cannot put a mechanic's lien against your property. So that is the benefit of a notice of non-responsibility. This is the end of episode 11. See you next time.